Hello, and welcome to another edition of Medicare Simplified with your host, Dave Miller.
Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Medicare Simplified. I'm your host, Dave Miller. And today we're going to wrap up our interview with Greg, changes in Medicare Part D for 2025. And I hope you've seen the previous editions. If not, they're still available. Please go back, watch them, and take some notes. I'm not going to say any more. We're just going to jump right into it.
So yeah, it's a balancing act.
We've covered everything I was thinking of, and I'm still sketchy on how I feel about this, because if Medicare is shifting the major amount of the burden over to you, that means things like a $0 copay for a primary care physician could easily switch to $5, $10. A specialist could go from $20 to $25, $30, because you guys have to come up with the money. The money has to be balanced.
Right.
Everybody knows you can't just keep what you have today and just take all this extra hit. You'll be out of business by the end of the year. So it is going to affect Medicare Advantage.
Yep.
And standalone drug plans. They're definitely going to have the maximum deductible, in my opinion. I mean, that makes sense. It's just going to be kind of interesting the next few years how this turns out, isn't it?
Yeah, it continues to get more and more complicated, overall. And I think it's our job, Dave, right, to hopefully make it easier. And this is why your podcast is, well attended and listened to. There's some other requirements that, for another podcast of supplemental benefits. There's a new rule that CMS released this year, and for 2026, we're going to start notifying our beneficiaries of, hey, that OTC benefit, right, that you have, you've only spent X number of dollars. You still have X number left for the year. Hey, you have 3,000 of unused dental. So how does that impact, right? Because that could drive utilization up. And if that drives utilization, how does that impact the premiums of the plans? I mean, it's going to get a lot of these changes, and I think it's, for the most part, it should be good. It's an education piece, right? We're educating the beneficiary what you signed up for. But there's also an unintended consequence of raising costs and utilization higher. So I think that's where it's going to, each plan is going to look a little unique each and every year, and why it's important to review your options every fall. So
that notice of change that you get in the mail, the knock, open it, read it, line by line. Get your pen and paper out, do some calculations. I've preached this so many times on television, I did a talk radio a while back. I did it on there. I do it at educational seminars. Don't just, notice a change, who cares? I'll just wait for my agent to call me. Don't wait.
Yeah.
Read it.
Exactly.
If you have questions, that's when you call your agent. Call me.
Yeah.
And this is how you know. Otherwise, people, I can't count how many times they just don't pay attention to it. Well, I never got it. Yeah, you did. You probably thought it was spam and threw it garbage.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think too, something to add to that, Dave, is what makes sense for you as an individual may not make sense for your neighbor, right? So always do what, hey, is the doctor participating, right? Is the copay sufficient? So manage your own plan. I think we get creeping into, my neighbor's got this special benefit. Do you really need it? Is it something you're ever going to use, right? And is that shiny thing going to be here next year? You always have to kind of look long term. And I always go back to core medical benefits and your prescription drugs. If they have you covered, then the supplemental benefits come into play. But I'm old school. I've been doing it a little too long, I think. So today it's like chase the shiny character. So
well, it's like I've told people. I have people where I go in to see a husband and wife.
yeah.
One has better health. The other one is a train wreck. So I'll put the train wreck on a Medigap plan, put the other person on a Medicare Advantage plan, and then I help them analyze their needs on, if they went on Medicare Advantage, for example, they're seeing a few doctors, but they're not bad. Well, maybe a premium one with a lower copay would be better. But if they only take a blood pressure pill and it's mild and that's all they have, then I'll put them on a zero plan. I mean, I try to help them pick the right one for them. And in my opinion, a Medicare Advantage plan, a Medicare supplement like Plan G, Plan N, no two people need the same thing. Just because what works for your neighbor may not work for you. And as Ashley told us back when we did How is a Medicare Plan Designed, a previous podcast, which is available still, what happens is your friend is in Cumberland County, Pennsylvania. Well, you're in Lancaster County. And guess what? The two plans are not the same. Or your plan might not be available in her county and vice versa. So you can't go with what your friend tells you. You need to listen to someone like yours truly, who knows all the plans in my case, 32 counties, going to 34. And I know what's good in your area and I will help you. But in the end, they have to tell me what they want. I'm not going to tell them what to do. And they have to make that decision, just like you said. They have to manage their own. All I'm going to be is an advisor and a guide.
Yeah, I mean, that's what we're here for. And, overall, I think there's still a lot of great options out there. I think it's just, we got to go eyes wide open in this fall. And because it's been the biggest change since when Part D came out, and totally upside down the program. But, I think overall the program will be easier for everyone to understand. And I think the biggest takeaway is $2,000 cap is the most you'll spend as a member, and you may spend less. And that's going to be the math that's going to be fascinating as well, because of how this program is going to work. Some may never even hit the cap, but no longer have to spend Medicaid, out of pocket on any medications because they hit that 6,000 threshold. So it's going to be it's a whole new adventure that awaits us.
I suggest, although the companies will be tracking how much you put out of pocket, I suggest get a spreadsheet if you're computer savvy, or maybe a checkbook ledger or something to make sure you track how much you write a check for every month on your prescription drugs. It doesn't hurt to check and balance and make sure the companies are accurate. I mean, your company has what, 8 million people on Medicare plans. Another company has 25 million. Another company has 72 million. Or, again, yours probably has 80 million, right? You get my drift. You have a lot of people you have to account for. Again, do your own accounting and check what they have and keep each other in line. It's to your benefit, right?
Correct. When you look at prescriptions, it's going to be total cost that you need to look at as well. So, is not every pharmacy has the same retail price, or mail order has the same retail price. So look at the cheapest place to get your medication overall from a gross cost. And I think that's going to be a new strategy to play as we move forward as well.
Now, going forward, now I'm not asking you to break out your crystal ball or anything, but going forward, 26, 27, 30, 32, however long you want to go, where do you see Medicare down the road as far as changes, financial strain on all Medicare companies, not just Medicare Advantage plans, not just standalone drug plans, not just Medicare supplement plans, because Medicare is not reimbursing as much starting next year as they have in the past. This new drug plan that's come out. What do you see happening down the road? Now, this is, again, just an opinion. Nobody's holding your feet to the fire. Where do you think we're going with Medicare and coverage in the future?
Yeah, I think that it's challenging. The next few years will continue to, evolve, right? As the administration, it always changes with the new administration as well. On the trajectory of Medicare, I think the past 5-6 years, Dave, as you can attest, like it's been who can have the best supplemental benefits out there, right? Who can come up with the newest shiny object, or I got $10,000 of dental this year, right? I think those days, I think maybe in the rearview mirror, for at least in the short term. I think we're going to start seeing benefits tailored to health conditions. I know CMS is really trying to focus on health equity, right? In help seniors that if maybe you're low income with a chronic health condition like diabetes, maybe there's going to be special advantages to certain products out there that maybe get you transportation or food and produce or some enhancement to help you manage your condition better than in the past. So I think we're going to start seeing more of that, and I'd say in the next year, 2, 3 years, as those, they're called value-based insurance designs. So I think we're going to see some creativeness around there. But the one size fits all model is probably not probably they'll probably have plans, right? But they're just not going to be as robust as they have been in the past. Is where I think CMS is headed.
So in other words, no more frozen stamped out hamburger patties. Basically, that's what it is.
Yeah.
You create one plan and it's good for 9 counties, but you have another plan for these 6 counties, another plan. No more frozen patties. It's going to be tailored. So like, are you saying like something like a plan for someone who's got chronic diabetes?
Right.
You'd have a diabetic plan that would cover however many counties in Pennsylvania you serve. It wouldn't be different for Dauphin versus Cumberland versus Franklin. It'd be good for the whole central PA field that you have. How many counties again?
We're in 21 counties.
Okay, so for all 21 counties, that diabetic plan would be the same. For a COPD person, it would be the same. Is that correct? Is what you're getting at?
It could have some nuance because there could be some. Let's say we have an advantage, partnering with the health system to tailor that health condition for that member. So it could be county specific, but overall, you'll start seeing some potentially advantages for those that it's hard to even say advantage, just extra services or options for those with chronic health conditions.
And I think that would be awesome. I do
Yep.
have an idea that we'll talk about offline, but I think it'd be great. And Greg, I can't tell you how much I appreciate your time, the knowledge, the information. I'm hoping listeners have some good information to them. And ladies and gentlemen, you can always reach out to me, Dave at mig4u.net, and I'll be happy to take your emails and get the answers for you if you have any questions about this or any other podcast I've done. Greg, again, thank you so much for your time.
Thanks, Dave. Much appreciated. Thanks to listeners as well.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is another edition of Medicare Simplified. I really hope you've enjoyed this podcast, all the information you got from Greg today. And again, this podcast is not meant to tell you what to do, but basically help you understand how to make the right decisions and get it right the first time. Make sure you hit the subscribe button. Don't forget to hit the notification button so when a new one pops up, you'll get a little chime. Again, thank you for tuning in, and I look forward to seeing you again soon. Have a great day. If you've enjoyed this podcast and don't want to miss future episodes of Medicare Simplified with me, Dave Miller, please subscribe wherever you get your podcasts. And don't forget to check out my book, Medicare Ready, Set, Go, available on Amazon in paperback and Kindle format. If you're looking for Medicare advice, please reach out to me at dave@mig4u.net or online at mig4u.net.